in me. Live out in the open, shine from my life like the sun. Give up your goodness, conquer the darkness, spirit of light and love.
Pray with me. There is but one God, one life, and I'm living that life right here and right now. Source, the Spirit, the thing I call God, is everywhere, ever present. And I am most certainly reminded of all the visioning, the prayers, the thinking of coming home to Aurora for the new dawn. And I realize this Mountain View United Home is uniting us all from many different cultures, even different beliefs. And it is wonderful to be here on another celebration day of independence. Because now, even though it may be temporary, it may be permanent, living in the now, we are totally independent and we have a safe, loving place to be. I am also grateful for all the other folks who are online, maybe not in the building, but held us in consciousness as we sought our new home, bringing all of us together in communion. Whether it be in this perfect space, a walk in nature, later online. It is this coming to this self place and meeting each other here. I'm grateful for all the hands that helped get us here, all the volunteers that make it happen, the beautiful flowers today, the beautiful sky. My commute, I swear, was easier this trip than last time. I know that it's not just in showing up, it is indeed the commuting. Wrapped in the arms of the practitioners, all the volunteers, the notes, the music, the singing from our music team, the AV team, everything working in unison to make it all happen. This is indeed a perfect village. And the mayor of that village, our own Reverend Jen Wild. Her dreams do come true. The miracle has happened. And what I know is because of her directed vision, continued and supported by this community, to thine own self be true, was made manifest. I'm so grateful to be able to say these words. I can't even tell you my wow factor today. I can release and let go knowing it is all done in perfect, all good, and together we say,
and so it is.
Our words of inspiration from Janice McDermott. I am filled with gratitude for what has been and what is now. Everyone in my life is off the hook. I release all fears and accept peace and love. I forgive everything and everyone, including myself. I take full responsibility for my own happiness. Happiness is a choice I make ahead of time. I let go of what no longer supports me and stay focused in the direction of my dreams. From CSL Dallas, inner strength is the product of being comfortable in your own skin, the knowing what you can and cannot do, willing to admit what you do and do not know. Do you masquerade behind a facade, pretending to be strong? Why pretend? Inner strength means you are willing to put effort into whatever you are doing, though it appears difficult. Living from your inner strength means you ask for help when you need it. And from our founder, the honored Dr. Ernest Holmes, our capacity to think, live, and move is non-physical. The invisible presence within us, a higher power acting through our actions, wills our mind and reveals itself in us. The source of real inspiration is at the center of our being and the real creative power. The question is, are we living from the center, or thinking we are detached, separated, divided, and alone? All have direct access to the infinite present within. By acceptance of God, there follows an acceptance of real self that blossoms in our relationships with others and discovers the fruit in its own actions.
Each one of us comes in contact with each other for a reason, for a purpose, divine purpose. And so I want us to pay attention to this. So this week, your homework is to make a list of all of the beautiful, wonderful, amazing people that you can give thanks for, that gave you those gifts that you didn't really want to get at that moment in time. It wasn't the way I wanted the gift to show up. It wasn't what I thought was going to show up. Because let me just tell you this. I've had some interesting relationships, and you've heard a little bit about them, and you'll probably hear more. And I've had some that were very challenging, that were very painful, and that caused great struggle in my life, for me, emotional pain. And I happen to know that one of the most challenging ones I ever had is what led me to ministry. Because I had to find a cure for what was going on in my world. I had to find a way to heal this. I had to find a way to fix this. I had to find out what can I do. First of all, what can I do for me so I don't step back into this, something like this again, but also what can I do for people like this individual who I could not help in that relationship, but there's got to be something that I can do for the greater good. So take some time this weekend and write out some gratitudes. You'll be surprised to see. And you might want to do it a little differently than I did. I wrote down the name and then I had to sit there and think of all of the wonderful things I was grateful for. You may want to just make a list of a few names and then come back to it and then start putting together some things. This is a step towards forgiveness. When we can express gratitude for the greatest pain someone may have caused us, we can move forward. We can detach ourselves from the energy of what they brought into our lives and move forward freely. Marianne Williamson said, to ask for another relationship or another job is not particularly helpful if we're going to show up in the new situation exactly as we showed up in the last one. I don't know about you, but I kept marrying the same guy. That was one thing for me. The other thing for me was I kept getting the same boss. What the heck? I remember about the time I was working at, I don't know, my fourth, fifth, sixth job, and I got a new manager, and it was like, I could just almost see the face of the last one at the last job. And I kept thinking, what is going on here? Why does God keep putting all this stuff in my path? Well, guess what? I was the one making all the stupid choices. Spirit was just holding that space for me to figure it out. So we've got to do some work. If we're not happy, if we're not content with where we are, and even if you are, even if you have the most amazing, beautiful, incredible relationship, trust me, Tuesday afternoon at 4 o'clock, you're going to bump into somebody, and it's not going to be the prettiest interaction that you would have liked. And you're going to go, oh wait, I still get to have connection with people that maybe don't think the way I do, or don't speak the way I do. So as we continue in this path this week of self-awareness, let us pay attention to this. The second point I want to make for today is to pay attention to self-care. Self-care is a deep and abiding spiritual practice. It absolutely is. Self-care. And it not only tells ourselves how we feel about who we are, but it tells the world. It tells the world who we are. Do you care for yourself? Are you caring enough for yourself? Are you taking the time, the energy, hitting the pause button, having fruit instead of a chocolate bar, or whatever those things are that we want to do that serve the being? Self-care is for your spiritual being, your soul. It's for your mind and your intellect. It's for your heart, your emotion. It's for all of you. I had emotional overload this past week. I decided to seek out some additional support, and I started talking about what was happening for me. And not only what was happening for me, what I was feeling, but how I was responding. And the dialogue that I was telling myself about what was really going on here. And the truth was that, again, another one of those beautiful, they're just amazing, one of those beautiful, amazing waves of grief just came over and just knocked me down. And I took some very significant time to pay attention to people I've lost, what the relationship was we had, how I felt about it, and what it means to me today. Now, we have a hesitancy to do that sometimes, especially when someone has been lost to us, because we want to remember all of the beautiful, wonderful things that they've done. Don't get together when I go over that. What is it we go over? When I take that step, when I go into that next life, those of you who are still hanging out, because I'm going to be pretty old, but whatever. When I take that step, please, oh my gosh, get together and talk about what a pain in the rear I was from time to time. Talk about sometimes that I was just too direct. What was with me with that? Talk about some of the crazy, weird, insane things that you saw me do. Do not make me a saint, because I don't want that. And what it has a tendency to do is it has a tendency to confuse everyone in the room. I took a class in ministerial school about how we do memorial services and celebrations of life. And it was about always bringing forth whatever that thing is that nobody wants to talk about. And to share some of those stories, because that's the person everybody saw from day to day. She wasn't a saint, that's for sure. She talked about food a lot. Okay, whatever. Now, I will say this. There are some beautiful, amazing people who recently have left this planet. Peg Crandall was one of them. No one had a negative thing to say about her. I was so thrilled to be in that space, in that presence, and hear these beautiful stories of this woman that I never really got to know. But pay attention to that. And pay attention to how we're showing up. And what we're bringing to the table. And then take that time to be with self. Because I came home from a service this past Wednesday, and I was a memorial service, and I was drained. And it took me time to figure out what was going on with me, because I was really hurting. And yet, I couldn't quite get a handle on why until Thursday, when I reached out to someone, an amazing practitioner, who said, sounds like this is reminding you of someone else. And I jumped right back into that 8-year-old kid's body who she's got some opinions about stuff. But had I not taken the time, I wouldn't be in that place of feeling grounded and centered and present today, which is how I choose to show up on Sundays, not only for you, but also for me. So self-care. Pick up a book. Don't pick up a book. Sit down, lay down, whatever it takes. Pause. Take a minute. The human being spends the first half of his life ruining health, and the other half trying to restore it. Wise words from Joseph Leonard. I don't know who Joseph Leonard is, but I thought that was such a beautiful statement. And here's what I got from that. For the first half of our life, at least, or what we deem is the first half, we're just going for the gusto. Eating whatever's put on the plate in front of us, running around like crazy, not getting any rest, doing whatever. We are fearless, and we are superior beings to the ails that happen to people over a certain age. And then one day we wake up and we're starting to get close to that certain age. And we think, oh, shoot, I better do something really different. Or I'm not at the halfway part. I thought I was at the halfway mark, but no, I might not be. Pay attention to that this week. Listen to your body. Use that wonderful, beautiful skill of self-awareness. Take time for self-care if that's what's necessary. Celebrate who you are. Affirm all that you want and all that you choose. We exist to generate self-awareness and responsibility over our own lives. It's a way of belonging to oneself, of being me. As you go through this process, you might discover there's something that you want to change. You might discover that there's nothing you want to change. You might discover that you need a new address. You might discover that you need a new vehicle, or like our esteemed Russell has done, no vehicle whatsoever. Take your time. Pay attention to that, to the messages that are coming to you. I want to remind you that when you take care of you, when you put you first, you are not coming from an egocentric mindset. That's not your ego. It's only your ego if you're boasting and telling the whole world what you're doing. The ego tries to protect you. It tries to keep us safe. And we have been told over the years, what is wrong with you? That is so egotistical. That's narcissistic. I love that one. I had to look that one up the first time I heard it. We are called to care for self first. How am I going to show up in the world and change the planet if I'm not here? if I'm not showing up, if I'm not taking care of me. You will never find another human being interesting in any way unless you have found yourself to be interesting as well. It starts here. It always starts here. David James says, "Be mindful of your self-talk. It is a conversation with the universe." Whoa, I've never seen that quote before. When I saw that this week, it was like, oh, whoa. I didn't think anybody was listening but me. The universe is listening. When we are berating ourselves, when we are discounting or discrediting ourselves, when we are saying anything critical about who we are not only harming that beautiful being within, we're harming ourselves, and we're putting an impact of that negative nature out into the world. It's all energy, and we're sharing it. And if you're ticked off and you're kicking the wall and you're having a screaming fit about something, maybe you need to express yourself, but when you get done with that, perhaps it's time to turn into prayer. Get all of that energy off of you. Let that go. As you go through this week, I encourage you to find a statement that serves you. A statement that's all about being positive about who you are, the foundation of who you are. Take a few minutes, figure it out. When we kids would act up, my mom would, if my brother would do something or I would do something, like we'd eat the last of whatever, because and let me tell you something. My parents were Pennsylvania Dutch. We grew up let's talk about food. We grew up in a household where there was mountains, layers, shelves, Hostess Twinkies, you name it, the junk food. We had a pantry. We had to put it in a pantry because there was so much. My parents grew up in the Depression. They were ecstatic to have access to all this stuff. And when one of us kids would take something, it was the last thing, my mom would say, "Well, I like me. Who do you like?" Now, what do you suppose that message was to me? I better not eat anything that's in the closet and let everybody else have their share first. I better put me second or put me last, because otherwise I look selfish. When you care for your body, when you care for your being, when you care for your mind, when you say to your partner or your spouse, "I need a break. I need a break to just go have some downtime. I'm going to go sit under a tree," whatever it is, whatever it needs to be. That's because you love that other person enough that you know you need to take care of you first. Take it to that space, take it to that place, and let go of the idea that it's all about me, the world's just revolving all around me. No, that's not what we're saying. Not at all. So as we continue this journey that we are on, and we step into this space this week about relationship, the three key components are self-awareness. Pay attention to you. What do you like? What don't you like? How are you feeling? How do you wish you were feeling? What do you need? What is the body asking for? What is the mind looking for right now? Dust off the mirror and get a good look at who you are. And then we have the concept of self-care, the practice of self-care. And there's so many things you can do for self-care. I took a jar of bubbles out on my deck yesterday, and I stood out on my deck and I blew bubbles. It was my new spiritual practice. And it was wonderful, because I was watching the bubbles and I was letting things, I was releasing some stuff. I had some little mantras I was doing. Self-care is a critical part of who you are and how you get to be. And then the last one is self-talk. Rephrase what you've been saying if that's what's necessary. Rewrite your script. Speak with love and kindness and compassion towards self. Trust me, it will help you when you come in contact with someone that you don't necessarily want to be patient and compassionate with. If you've turned it inward first, you'll be able to turn it outward later. Let go of the shame. Let go of the blame. Be here. Be present. Be you. And remember, first thing in relationship is me, myself, and I. Please pray with me. As we just breathe into this moment, to this space, to this time right here and right now, we know that Spirit is present, that God is present, that universal wisdom, that universal idea, the creativity behind all life is right here with us, in us, through us, surrounding us, in this space, in this place. It has delivered this address for us. We cannot question its power. It is phenomenal. And so what we know this week is we take this time this week and we pay attention to self. We look at the idea of who I am. We look at the purpose that we have. We look at the presence that we are, of how we talk to ourselves, how we care for ourselves, and that very level of awareness. We embrace it and we share it with the planet. Because we are also that part of relationship that supports another person. And so knowing that this day is blessed by God, knowing that the beauty of this summer day and the grounds around this facility where we are, around this building, and the green grass and the trees and the beautiful garden, and all of these things are of God, and they are all here with us now as reminders of the joy that we have, of the blessings we have, of the gratitudes we have. And so I just give thanks. I give thanks for this moment. I give thanks for this time. I give thanks for this beautiful, amazing community and everyone who is here with us today. And all of the people who join us online throughout the week. And all who hold us in that high regard. All are perfect, all are blessed, all are good. And it's all God. So I simply let it go and let it be, as we say together, and so it is.
Spirit's moving in me. Yeah, I'm gonna sing to the world its perfect melody. Give a cafe, know that I'm feeling my heart. Spirit's moving in me. Spirit's dancing in you. Spreading peace and joy to make the world new. Give a cafe love that you feel in your heart. Yeah, Spirit's dancing in you. Spirit's moving in me. I'm gonna sing to the world its perfect melody. Give Yes, Spirit's moving in me. I said, Spirit's moving in me. One more time, yeah, say, Spirit's moving in me.
Hello. I'm Reverend Jen Wild, Senior Minister for New Dawn Center for Spiritual Living. New Dawn Center is a global community, and we welcome all people, all paths, all ways of thinking, all philosophies. So know that you are welcome here, and thank you for joining our online community.